Investigators seek answers at one daycare facility in New York after 4 young children overdose on fentanyl. And some farmers in Kentucky are dealing with abnormally dry conditions as we enter the fall season.
Clouds are back, but the rain is not here in beautiful downtown Whitesburg. We'll tell you when the next best chance for rain is coming here in just a few minutes. Mountain News at 4 continues.
Mountain News First at 4 continues.
And welcome back. Police were back at the scene of a Bronx, New York daycare where 4 young children overdosed last week, one of them fatally. This as attorneys for the 2 suspects appeared before a judge. Alice Gaynor reports from the courthouse.
Neither suspect was here in the courtroom since both are in federal custody. Attorneys for each waived their appearances. Meantime, on Thursday, a new search warrant was executed at the daycare center. Sources tell us police are looking for traps and false walls commonly found in drug stash houses. The NYPD's crime scene unit is back at Divino Niño Daycare Center in the Bronx, searching the entire place. Last week, 1-year-old Nicholas Dominici died after being exposed to fentanyl, and several other children were sickened at the daycare and hospitalized. During a previous search, officials found a kilo of fentanyl stored on top of playmats used by the children and kilo presses. The daycare's owner, 36-year-old Gray Mendez, and her husband's cousin who rents a room there, 41-year-old Carlisto Acevedo Brito, were arrested and charged in state court with murder of depraved indifference. Earlier this week, they were also slapped with federal narcotics conspiracy charges, which carry a sentence of 20 years to life in prison. During that federal court appearance, Mendez cried and denied any knowledge of a drug operation. Brito denies it too. Federal prosecutors accuse Mendez of playing a role in the drug distribution and in helping her husband escape. They're still looking for him. It's alleged on Friday afternoon, after discovering the children were not waking up from their nap, she made 3 calls, 2 to her husband, the 3rd to 911. Today at Bronx Supreme Court, attorneys for both Mendez and Brito had no comment. Both defendants opted not to testify before a grand jury here at Bronx Supreme Court. Their next court date is October 5th. Alice Gaynor, CBS News, the Bronx, New York.
Officials at the Kentucky Office of Drug Control Policy have shared some overdose fatality numbers. There were 2,250 fentanyl overdose deaths in 2021 here in Kentucky. That is compared to 1,964 overdose deaths in 2020 and 1,316 overdose deaths in 2019. Officials at the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet have announced more than $6 million in funding to help pay for repairs to roads and streets. The city of Buckhorn in Perry County has been approved for more than $69,000 to resurface 3 streets. The city of Hazard will receive $126,000 to resurface Gorman Hollow Road, and Harlan will receive more than $63,000 to resurface 3 streets there. The month of September brings fall and festivities into focus for many, but some people see the beginning of fall differently. Experts at Mental Health America of Kentucky are looking for ways to help those in need, and people are increasingly picking up the phone to ask for it. And those experts say they have had more than 55,000 calls at the 988 Mental Health Call Center in Lexington.
It is an anonymous hotline, so if you are not ready to give your name, if you're not ready to give your age, you don't have to, and you can call as many times as you need to.
Experts at the Lexington 988 call center say they are encouraged that more people are using the number.
Well, we're back here live at the Mountain Heritage Festival, beautiful downtown Whitesburg, and we're looking at the sun disappearing again behind the clouds. But that's okay. we're not expecting any rain. So if you're coming out tonight, it's still be great. If you're going out to the Chicken Festival tonight in London, if you're going out to any of the festivals, I know the Sorghum Festival is going on up in West Liberty this weekend too. It's going to be a great night for that. Let's take a look at our Buffalo Mountain camera in Perry County, 79. And I can tell you, I believe, and we're going to show you the dew points here in a second. I think the dew points were a little bit higher earlier. They're actually not, but I think it was the sun that was making it feel hotter out here. Some sunshine up on Buffalo Mountain. Temperatures, we're basically in the 70s and 80s right now. Looks like the warmest spots in the region. 81 in Somerset, Williamsburg, Irvin, Moorhead, and Prestonsburg. Low 70s over in Grundy and Wise. That's kind of the range out there. Now those dew points, 60s are a little bit more toward the muggy category, but for the most part, it's up mid to upper 50s in a lot of locations, even 50 over toward Wise, which is just across the border. Another thing showing up on Doppler, a little green back over toward Beckley, West Virginia, but again, we don't expect that to move this way, and that might not even reach the ground. There's a lot of moisture in the air right now that may not be reaching the ground. It's going to be a good night for grilling out, or come down here to the festival and let them grill out for you. Got some good scents behind me, some good smells behind me, some food. We're going to follow through the 70s through about 8 o'clock, but it's still going to be a nice night across the region. I'll have the rest of the forecast coming up here in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Brandon, thank you. Some Kentucky farmers say they are concerned about a recent dry spell they're experiencing. After a rough spring and summer with a lot of rain, farmers say they are now concerned things are going the other way. WYMT's Phil Pendleton spoke to some farmers in Garrett County about the challenges they are facing.
Some time back, most of the grass behind me would have been completely green and lush, but now brown grass has started to weave its way in. Of course, the reason it's become a little bit drier here than what farmers would like to see. And because of that current dry spell, some farmers say they are starting to become concerned.
Where we live, actually, in Garrett County, we're pretty dry there.
Jared Ayers buys and sells cattle all over the United States. He says their #1 challenge right now is drinking water for their livestock. He says low water could cause some of their cattle to be sold early.
We've had enough water to kind of get us through, but we could sure use some more rain.
Soybean harvest is well underway in neighboring Boyle County, where Barry Welty is overseeing 125 acres at Caverndale Farms. He says lack of adequate rain since about August has them fearing their yields will not be what they need to be.
Double crop soybeans, I have no idea what they're going to do. They need a rain in the worst way and probably would still help fill out some of the pods.
The situation is not the same everywhere across Kentucky. There are some places that have received plentiful rainfall and they're not dealing with the same challenges that farmers in Garrett County are facing. In Garrett County, Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
Farmers also say the lack of rain has caused them to use some of their hay earlier than normal. Pumpkin Man's Corn Fusion Maze is ready for new stalkers. The Prestonsburg Corn Maze is open for business, inviting the community for some fall fun, planted by the area's award-winning pumpkin grower, Dwight Sloan. Sloan says the floods ruined the maze last year, so he's ready to give back to the community again.
First year was pretty good. We had quite a few people coming through. We done some fundraisers to help out the local animal shelter and a couple of the band groups from Betsy Lane. It was pretty good trials, all pretty fun.
Hear more about the maze and its mission coming up tonight at 6. But next here on First at 4, the Fed pauses a rate hike for now. We'll explain where that leaves mortgage rates.
Overcast for now, sun more later, and we'll see sun continue through the last full day of summer on Friday. I'll have your extended forecast coming up in a few.